In the quiet moments, that's where I'll find a little room to breathe, leave it all behind. Give me room to breathe, I need some time to heal my heart, to clear my mind. Gonna love myself, yeah, I believe in the power of me. Just give me room to breathe.
Great new day to all my self-care friends and family. Welcome into another Room to Breathe podcast. I am your host, Life Coach 614, and I am so glad that you made space to be here with us today. Now, before we get into today's episode, do me a quick favor. If you are feeling the vibe, be sure to show us some love. Tap that screen, like, comment, and most importantly, share this live out with someone who may need a little healing energy today. And if this is your first time here or you haven't done so already, please be sure to hit that follow button, subscribe to our channel, so that way you're always tapped in when a new episode drops. I also want to personally invite you to visit our digital home at selfcareclub.org. There you will find everything from affirmative apparel to motivational merch and free resources to help nourish your growth and remind you that you're supported every step of the way. Just know that you don't have to do this alone. We are healing in community, growing one breath, one moment, one day at a time. So today, I encourage you to give yourself permission to pause, to reflect, and to make space for peace, for growth, most importantly, for you. Now, if anything in today's episode hits home, be sure to drop a green heart in the chat. It's our way of saying I'm healing, I'm growing, and I'm showing up for me. Now, let's get ready to breathe, reflect, and grow together. Now, family, listen. I see y'all in the house. Welcome in Cardi, Lady Blue, Papa Smurf, Kale, Brooks, Miss Cece in the house. I see y'all. Listen, y'all, today's topic, I think that this one is going to be one that hits home for a lot of us, because I can say it's pretty safe to say that we've all been there, right? The title of today's episode is No-gotiations, asked and answered. Okay? So today we're going to talk about the power of no, the finality of no, and the messy reactions people have when your no doesn't serve them. Especially when folks act like your, one no somehow erases all the times that you said yes. So let's get into this. Have y'all ever noticed, and be honest with me, y'all, okay? Have y'all ever noticed that, how you can have like people can have a whole history of you showing up, right? You've constantly been pouring out, giving, sacrificing, yet the first time you tell them no, they act like you ain't never lifted a finger for them. Like, you act like this one no erases all the times that I said yes. If you guys have ever had that happen to you, drop a green heart in the chat for me. Miss Sherry walked in the building like, yes, absolutely, right? Let me know I'm not talking to myself here, y'all. Let me see some green hearts in the chat. Okay, Brooks like, I'm with you. Because listen, y'all, isn't it just like for me, this is just so frustrating. And it's beyond frustrating. It is heartbreaking, because people don't remember your yes, right? They don't remember your yes, they remember their access. And the moment you close the door, the moment that you remove access, even just a little bit, they want to act like you betrayed them. Right, Tiff? Like your no is an insult instead of an invitation to respect your limits. Now, I'll share just a quick, story with you guys. It's I guess you would say it's kind of like my own personal example. I can remember a time when I was everybody's lifeline. Need a ride? Call me. Need some gas money? Call me. Need somebody to, stay up on the phone with you until 3 a.m. and allow you to vent and get all your emotions out about your baby daddy and your mama's mama and whatever. Call me. I got you, right? And 9 times out of 10, I would say, yeah, sure, no problem. Right? What my girl Tiff say, the doors are open. You may now come in and disrespect me, right? But y'all, the one time, just one time that I said, I can't do it right now. I really need some rest. Baby, when I tell y'all that person turned so cold on me, they hit me with the wow. Wow. Right, CC? Wow, you changed. You're not, you're not there for me like you used to be before. And family, let me just pause right there, because I cannot be the only one, right? I cannot be the only one. Has anybody else ever been there? Right? You've been hit with that line before? Right? The whole you've changed guilt trip that people try to throw on you. See, the truth is, they didn't forget all the times that I showed up, right? They didn't forget that. They just didn't want to acknowledge it, because acknowledging it meant that they'd have to face up to their own entitlement. And who wants to do that? Right? Like, who wants to do that? And so that's what it comes down to. Some people just refuse to take accountability for themselves. Some folks have gotten so comfortable with your constant availability that they mistook it as an obligation, like you owed it to them. And when you stop playing that role, they don't see it as you protecting your peace. They see it as you abandoning them. They want to be like, oh, how could you? Right? And, that's the myth right there, that you're supposed to always be on call, always be ready, always be present. Like you're some type of emergency hotline instead of being a whole human being out here. And if I can keep it real with y'all, that myth will eat you alive if you let it. Okay? That myth leads to burnout, resentment, exhaustion. You start running on fumes, but you're still trying to pour from an empty cup because you don't want to let people down. Right? And you guys, I had to learn this the hard way. And I want y'all to catch this so you don't have to. I need for you to understand that availability is not love. I can love you and not be available. So again, availability is not love. They are not the same. Sacrificing yourself to the point of depletion is not love. Saying yes when your soul is screaming no, that is not love. I can tell y'all what it is. That's fear. That's codependency. That's people pleasing dressed up as loyalty. See, the thing about love, in addition to love being patient and kind, right? Love has balance. Love leaves room for rest. Love honors your limits. Some people act like your no erases all your yeses. And I want you to remember this. It is not your job to keep proving your love by breaking your own boundaries. You already proved it when you showed up for them the first time, and the second time, and the 100th time. So now that we're at time 101 and you need to say no, you don't have to prove yourself. You don't have to prove your worth. Miss Joy, welcome in. Now it's time for you to prove something different, right? Because we've been doing this for far too long. So it's time for us to prove something different. And what we need to prove is that we love ourselves enough to stop being available to everybody all the time. Because constant availability doesn't mean that you are loved or that you are giving love. It just means that you are convenient. You are accessible. Basically, you're out there for the streets, right? And we know we're not. We know we top shelf over here, right? We're exclusive. I'm not for everybody. So the days of me being convenient, low-hanging fruit are over. And I want each and every one of you to know that you are so much more than somebody's convenience. Don't allow people to make you optional in their life. You are a priority. So again, I want you guys to understand that you are worth more than being someone's convenience. Now, let's just listen. We already into the thick of it, y'all. Let's just get into it, okay? Because I think this is the point where things start to get a little messy, right? You say no, and suddenly it's like the whole world has turned upside down. You get, right? They start smacking their teeth. You get all the sighs. You start getting the passive aggressive comments, the guilt trips, the silent treatments, the wow, I thought I meant more to you. I thought this relationship meant more, right? Go ahead, put a green heart in the chat if y'all heard it before. Because I know it has to sound familiar. I talk to too many clients on a regular basis who say all of these things. Wow. Since you got with that little life coach, you've been acting a little different. Since you've been going to therapy, you know what I'm saying? You acting a little brand new. And so here's the thing. When somebody tries to debate you over your no, when someone tries to guilt trip you, manipulate you, or try to make you feel bad for it, here's what they're saying. They're saying, I don't respect your boundary because your usefulness to me is more important than your well-being. Y'all go ahead and type ouch. Because that's what that means. They tell you that you're more valuable to me when I can use you. So I don't have time for your well-being. I don't care about your healing. That's whatever. Right? And again, it's the truth. There's no way that we can sugarcoat it. It's right there in our face. It's been hiding in plain sight the entire time. And yeah, I remember the days, when I was juggling a couple of different people's crises at one time. I'm over here managing money struggles, relationship chaos, family emergencies. And my energy was stretched thin. And in the midst of all of these crises that I'm managing, none of them are mine, but they all feel very personal to me. And then in the midst of me doing all of this, somebody asked me to help them with something extra. And at the time, I just had to say, I can't. And baby, when I tell y'all their tone changed, the way that they switched up on me was crazy. I got cold text messages and they really acted like what was happening in my life had no value. They acted like the commitments that I had already made were pointless. And now all of a sudden they felt like my no was some kind of personal attack towards them. But people who benefit from your constant yes will always push back when you finally honor yourself. They confuse your boundary with rejection. Instead of seeing it as a bridge, they think of it as a wall. They make it personal when it's purely just protection. And it is tempting for us to start explaining. Oh, well, no, because I'm tired. I have to rest. I can't do that right now. See, the moment that you open the door to the explanation, you give room for the negotiation. I said no. Asked and answered, right? Because when you open that door, now you risk turning your no into a maybe, and that's all they're looking for. You ain't have to say yes, but you can't say no. right? And in their eyes, a maybe is better than a no. And I know that we've all been there before, right? Over explaining ourselves so many times to just keep other people comfortable because we want to avoid the drama, to avoid them, looking at us like we're cold or we're unloving, because heaven forbid we're seen as such, right? But every single time we do that, we lose a little bit of ourselves. So we have to learn this hard lesson. And that lesson is that our boundaries are not up for debate. My no is non-negotiable. They're not a suggestion, right? My boundaries are not a suggestion. It's not a bargaining chip. It's not a plea deal, right? My no is sacred. And you know what? That's my freedom. That's how I get to the next level in my life. That's how I continue to grow. That's where my glow up lies. And so let me ask you guys, and you can put it in the chat if you want, or you can just jot it down in your journals, keep it to yourself. But I'm going to ask you guys a question. Who in your life has ever made you feel guilty for saying no? Again, you can put it in the chat, or you could just drop a green heart when you have that person in mind. Who in your life has made you feel guilty for saying no? We know family on the list, because honey, sometimes it be your own people, your mama, your daddy, your auntie, your granny, your children, your siblings. Oh Lord, them siblings, honey. They act like they don't get that you don't get to tell them no. These kids, these ungrateful kids that we didn't raise, right? Let's take a moment just to acknowledge it together, because healing comes with naming it. We can't heal what we pretend not to feel, right? So naming it is a part of the healing. And here's the real kicker. Sometimes it's not even about them being cruel or manipulative. Sometimes people just don't understand boundaries because you've never had them. And they've never had them, right? So the whole concept of boundaries is just foreign to some people. And so they don't know how to respect them. And that's why it's so important for us to stay firm in our boundaries, to practice saying no without over-explaining, and to trust that our peace is more important than anybody else's comfort with our limits. I want you guys to type in the chat, my no is sacred. My no is sacred. And as you tap it, I just want you to say it with me. Even if it's, again, just to yourself, my no is sacred. My no is sacred. And the reason why I want you guys to practice saying this, writing this is because repetition builds belief, and belief builds freedom. My no is sacred. And I want you guys to understand that your no will reveal people. It will reveal who people really are to you. And sometimes that revelation stings. Sometimes it hurts. I mean, think about it. When you've been showing up for someone for months or years, and you finally set that boundary, their reaction can tell you more about them than a lifetime of words ever could. Welcome in, Crystal. I remember this one time I was asked to help a friend of mine with, it was something big. And I had already stretched myself thin that week. And my first thought was no, right? My gut said it loud and clear, no, exclamation point. But my heart, y'all, my heart wanted to accommodate. What's up, Big Joe? Welcome in. My heart wanted to give in. Even though, my gut was like, no, hell no, we ain't doing this. But this little heart of mine wanted to accommodate. And I had to remind myself that my peace is a priority. And so I had to acknowledge that I did not even have the capacity to help. Even if I would have stepped in and helped, I wouldn't have been of service. I wouldn't have been of help because my cup was empty, you guys. And so I had to say, I can't do this right now. And y'all, the response, the response that I got was, oh, you're not dependable. Like, excuse me? Suddenly I wasn't a friend. Suddenly I was different. I was cold. And when I say that hit me like a ton of bricks, like that hurt my feelings. Like it hurt this little heart that wanted to give in. It broke my heart because, I finally saw that this person didn't value me for who I am. Right? They didn't care what I had going on in life. Their emergency was more important than the crisis that I was going through. And so I learned that they didn't value me for who I am as an individual. They only valued me for what I could provide to them. I've learned over the years that boundaries are like truth serum, right? You cannot tell a lie with those boundaries, y'all. And so when you set your boundaries, they start to strip away that fake comfort and reveal what's real. Some people will support your growth, even if it makes them uncomfortable, right? Them is your real people. That's that soul tribe. But other people, well, it just reveals their true colors. Either way is okay. Because we don't need to keep people around who can't celebrate our evolution. We don't need to keep people in our lives, and we don't have to fight to keep them in our lives when they don't even support our growth. They don't even see it. And so, yeah, sometimes folks are just going to guilt trip you. It is what it is. They're going to tell you, oh, after everything that I've done for you, or you used to care more. That's, that right there is just, it's like a little punch in the gut. That's manipulation disguised as sentiment, right? They're going to keep pretending. And you guys know the thing about, when you think about a virus, right? A virus, as it's dying, will fight to stay alive. It will grab onto anything. It'll cling to anything to stay alive. And so when you start setting boundaries, when you are on your healing journey, you have to understand that these people in your life, right? These virus type of people, as you are fighting to survive and as you are getting stronger and you are killing off the things that no longer serve you, those things are going to fight even harder to stay attached to you. So they are going to say the hurtful things. They are going to do the revealing things to show you that they were never for you. Thank you, Crystal. Welcome in, Butterfly. These people are going to fight to stay alive. Just like the, infectious nature and the virus that they are, right? The DOPs, I call them, the disruptors of peace. They will leech on to any and everything that they can to stay relevant in your life when you are healing. And that doesn't stop you from healing. You keep healing. And, when you think about your past, the past yeses, that doesn't, you have to understand that doesn't give people a license to override your current no. Yeah, that's the entitlement of them. You're right, Big Joe. Your past yeses do not give people a license to override your current no. Just because I said yes then, I'm saying no now. And so you don't get to override that. My history of support doesn't mean that I'm obligated to continue showing up, sacrificing myself. Because see, I've grown. This is what growth looks like. And we have to understand that while we are growing, while we are on this healing journey, not everyone is. And so you have to be okay with the fact that not everyone gets to come with you on this journey. Not everyone is meant to follow you on this journey. So again, I encourage you guys to take a moment and reflect today on who in your life is showing up in their true colors because you finally are saying no. And how does that no make you feel? Pause, breathe, and know that you don't need to respond to them right now, right? You just need to notice. Yeah, Miss Sherry said, I do not care. Recognizing the truth is our first step to protecting our peace. And that's why I said it's important that we just call it out for what it is, right, Ghost? Recognizing the truth is our first step towards protecting our peace. And we have to understand that protection is not cruelty, it's love. It is self-love, if we're being specific. Some people won't like the boundaries that you set. As Miss Sherry said, I do not care. I do not care. Thank you, Big Joe. Some people will get upset. I do not care. Some people will act like you've changed on them overnight. Spoiler alert, I do not care. Because my no is not about them. Your no, not about them. It's about you. And once you've internalized that, you can stop negotiating. You can stop explaining. Thank you for the heart, me. You can stop apologizing for your limits. You get to just live in your truth. Now, I'm gonna get personal for a minute. Be all up in y'all's business for a minute. And I'm gonna let y'all all up in my business for a minute, okay? This is a mutual here. Again, I do remember seasons of my life where I was literally everybody's everything. That go-to person. And it got worse when I became a life coach, because again, I became that go-to person for everyone. And people thought that they had access to me, a 2 a.m. vent session. Child, I'm asleep. What you calling me for? Shantae got a man at home. Like, right? What is happening here? There was a period in my life when I was there for them. You need money? I got you. Relationship in crisis? I got you. Right? I would drop anything because it's just the type of person that I was. Keyword was. And, I did it gladly because I just wanted to be dependable. That's what society tells us dependability looks like. So I just wanted to be loving and dependable because I thought that's what made me a good person. I wanted to be the person that everybody could count on. But what I learned from that lifestyle is that being everybody's everything came at a cost. It cost me my time, my energy, my peace. And the crazy part is nobody ever asked me how I was doing, right? Because nobody ever checks on the strong friend. Nobody ever stops to ask if we're okay. They only saw that I was there, that I was available. And that's the trap, right? People get so used to your availability that, again, they confuse it with your obligation. So one day I woke up and I was like, no. And you guys, we fall backwards sometimes in traps, right? We get strong, we learn how to say no, and then someone else comes up and we're like, oh, but I can't say no to them, right? If I say no to them, like, oh. So this is an ongoing pattern. That's what healing is. That is what growing is. That's why self-care is so important, because it's something that we get to do again and again. And, one day you'll have to say no to someone, and their reaction may not be pleasing, right? The calls might stop. You might get cold text messages, and people will act like you've never lifted a finger for them before. And when it happens, it will hurt, but not for the reason that you might think. Okay? It will hurt because you'll finally realize that you have been showing up for everyone but yourself. That's where the pain sits for me. Not so much in how they reacted, because baby, that just revealed to me who you are. The pain that I felt in those situations was because I forgot who I was. Right? Because as we say, I do not care who you are. Right? You are just manipulative user. Okay? And you are someone who wanted to show up and make me optional when I was born a priority. You guys, I promise you, there is such a freedom that comes with saying no. Your no becomes your shield. It is like a declaration that I matter, right? That my boundaries matter, that my times matter. You get special emails. Return to sender. Report as spam. I want you guys to really spend time today thinking about your life. The people in your circle who celebrated your yes or punished you for your no. And, the ones who stuck around and showed up differently when you finally honored yourself. Because I don't just want you to, see the people who don't value the strength that it took for you to say no. I want you to also reflect on the people who did, right? The people who honor your no, the people who encourage you to say no when you need to. Because we need to spend more time with them and less time with the others. We need to focus on, putting the DOPs over there in the corner and leaving them on their own. Maybe that no needed to be a wall for them. Ghost said, I almost responded to them, but I didn't. I just deleted them. Absolutely. I love a good leave on red, honey. I like to click on it so you know that I read it and still not reply. Hey, Tiff, welcome in, beautiful. So again, you guys, we have to look at our no's as a mirror. And that no reflects back to who is, actually aligned with our growth and who was just benefiting from your availability. Thank you so much. And again, that's just the truth. I know that it gets messy, but it is necessary for us to continue healing, for us to continue growing. And I want you guys to remember that your no doesn't erase your yes. Your no doesn't undo your love. It simply shows that you love yourself enough to honor your limits. And that is the most powerful love that there is. That is the most powerful love that there is. Now, let's slow down for just a moment and really check in with ourselves. This section of the conversation, or I guess this part of the conversation, is going to be for the person who's been bending over backwards for everyone else. Thank you. The person who's been bending over backwards for everyone else and forgetting how to show up for themselves. Put a green heart in the chat if that's you. If you have been giving and giving and giving, and you look in your cup and you realize you have nothing left to give, Put a green heart in the chat. Let me see who my people are. Okay, Ghost, I see you. They got Butterfly, Miss Sherry. Listen, they just say when two or more agree. I'm not talking to you,
This
Siri.
page is not set up for me to read.
Siri, I'm not talking to you.
Okay, I found this on the web for I'm not talking
Lord,
to you.
y'all.
Check it out.
He tripping. Cancel. I don't even know what I said to trigger them, but they say when two or more agree. Siri, stop.
I'm not sure what you're trying to edit.
I can't make this up. Hold on, y'all. Let me try to turn this iPad off. Okay, we're gonna try to do our thing and see if he'll leave us alone. Okay, so we got green hearts in the chat. That means more than two people are agreeing. We've been there. We can align with that. We understand that. So those of you who put green hearts in the chat, I want you to ask yourself, where in your life are you still negotiating? And when I say he trying to agree to, okay, stop listening. He's like still just listening to me. He here for the lesson too, my bad. Cardi said my picnic basket empty. Y'all, that just took me out right there. That was funny. What I want you guys to ask yourself, where are you still negotiating a no that you already meant in your gut? Like you already said it with your chest, but you find yourself still negotiating. I want you to think about who in your life only celebrates your yes, but punishes your no. And I want you to think about what would shift if you trusted your first answer and let it be enough. So again, where in your life are you still negotiating a no that you already meant in your gut? Who in your life only celebrates your yes, but punishes your no? And what would shift if you just trusted your first answer and let it be enough? Right? No. Period. Asked and answered. Now that we've spent some time kind of unpacking, all of this messiness, I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about the liberation that comes with this, right? The freedom that comes with saying no, right? I not only want you to say no, I want y'all to say it with your chest. I want you to say it unapologetically. There's this verse in one of my songs that I absolutely love, and it has been, it stems from a affirmation that I had wrote and had on my wall for years. And it says, I said what I said, and I said it with authority because I am finally the authority on me. And for me, that affirmation is simply a reminder that my no was not meant to be disrespectful. But I said what I said. I said it with my chest, so I said it with authority. Because now that I'm on this healing journey, now that I'm tapped in and tuned in with me, I'm finally the authority on me. Which means I get to dictate when I say yes and when I say no. In spite of who I used to be. I was a people pleaser before. I'm not anymore. Right? So there's a freedom that comes with you saying no unapologetically. When you stop negotiating your no's, I promise you, everything changes. You stop feeling the weight of other people's expectations pressing down on your chest. You stop over explaining yourself, over apologizing. Like, have you ever had to say sorry for telling somebody no? Like, so we're done over apologizing, overthinking every reaction. That freedom is peace. That freedom is power. That's healing in motion. That's healing out loud. I want you guys to really picture it. Like, how would it feel if, you said no to something that's just been draining your energy and not feel bad about it? Yes, Kel said, I stopped apologizing. Like, how would it feel to say no to something that has been draining your energy and not feel bad about doing it? To set a boundary and watch people either rise to respect it or quietly remove themselves from your life. Because guess what? Both reactions are clarity. There's a lesson in both reactions. And that person that I told you about before, that was in my life, who constantly kind of tested my limits, pushing me past my comfort zone. And every time I said no, they acted like I was being unreasonable, right? But as soon as I stayed firm, I realized that my no became a filter. It kept my peace intact and revealed to me, who actually respected me. And as I've been on this healing journey, welcome in, No Fear, No Doubt. As I've been on this journey to heal myself, some people have left. That's okay. I'm not going to say it doesn't hurt. It stings a bit. Some people more than others, right? But the ones who stayed, I learned that they respected me even more than before, right? They respected me because I had finally chosen me, that I had finally put myself first. And I want you guys to catch this. Freedom doesn't mean that everybody will like it. Freedom doesn't mean that this journey is going to be easy. Freedom means that you no longer negotiate your peace for comfort of others. Have an amazing day, CC. Love you. It means that you are no longer negotiating your peace for the comfort of others. Freedom means your energy is yours to protect. And freedom, again, means that your no is sacred. So you guys think about those situations and, that you've just been hesitating to say no to. Maybe it's a request at work, a favor from a friend, a family obligation. Imagine yourself saying no, right? You've said yes for so long, but now your first instinct is no. And imagine saying no and holding firm without the guilt. You will feel the weight lift off your shoulders. That's your freedom calling you. Remember, your no is not a rejection. It's self-respect. It is preservation. It is empowerment. And every time you say it, you are reinforcing the truth that your peace, your time, and your energy are invaluable. Stand on business, 10 toes down. I said what I said, right? Miss Portia, welcome in. And when you start living like that, you attract the right people. I think that we have been chasing for so long. Now we're tired. So I'm in this season where I don't chase, I attract. What's for me is for me, right? And so once you start saying no unapologetically, you'll start to attract the right people, the right opportunities, and the right energy into your life. So I want you guys to take today as the moment for you to claim your freedom. Like my brother said, stand on business, right? Stand in it. Breathe in the power of your boundaries and know that your no isn't just a word, it is a lifestyle. It's liberation, it's healing. And you guys, I promise you, it is so beautiful. It is so beautiful. And today's episode it's not just about saying no, right? Ultimately, it is about reclaiming yourself, your energy, your peace, your right to exist without everyone else's approval. It's about you living in your truth unapologetically. And so today we unpack the myth of constant availability. Remember that, right? How people get so used to your yes that the first time you set a boundary, they act like you've betrayed them. Again, I know that feeling all too well. I've had friends, family, co-workers who looked at me like I suddenly, had become someone that they couldn't even recognize. Like I had two heads sticking out my neck. Just because I finally said, no, I can't do that. We also dug into the emotional manipulation that comes when you honor your boundaries, right? The emotional manipulation of the guilt trips, the passive aggressive comments, the silent treatment. Because some people will make you feel like your no is an attack on them. But we've learned it's not about them, right? It's about protecting your energy, prioritizing your peace, and recognizing that your time and attention are not unlimited resources, right? These are not unlimited resources to be drained by other people's entitlement. We talked about the truth of boundaries, right? That your no reveals who people really are. And in spite of the fact that sometimes, that stings, it hurts really bad, we realize that it's actually a blessing, right? That clarity shows you who is really there for you and who is only there for what you can do for them. Yes, ghosts, we are taking the respect that wasn't given. Yes. It's like when I think about this, I want to be dependable. I want to show up for people. But after a while, we've got to realize how much we can actually carry. I tell you guys a lot about the word capacity. Capacity is a big word in my life. Capacity, obedience, and accountability. Them is my jams, y'all. But when I think about capacity, I wake up every day trying to figure out how much I can actually hold today, how much I can carry today. What is the capacity of other people's BS am I willing to juggle today, right? And in order to avoid my cup running empty, I have to determine what capacity I have for others. And so I think that for those of you who are struggling with a no, you need to make capacity your word for the day. Because you get to determine the capacity that you hold for other people. Making sure that you are the priority. Making sure that you keep you first. When you stop negotiating your no, when you stop carrying the weight of everybody else's expectations, you will stop overthinking. You will stop apologizing for living in alignment with your truth. You will truly understand that freedom, the liberation, the healing that you are doing, it means something. And even though some people might leave, some people might be upset, some people may act like, that no is going to erase all the yeses. All you need to know is that's clarity. And that's the gift from the universe, that clarity. when you can finally see who truly belongs in your life, who's truly there for you, who really respects your energy, and who's there to celebrate your boundaries, you'll feel it all in your chest, all in your spirit. So I know that we talked about a lot today. And I just hope that there was something that you guys take away from this conversation that helps you to understand, how while we're on this healing journey, there are things that is going to happen that reveals people's true colors. And I want you to be okay with some people walking away. If a person is willing to walk away from you because you set a boundary for yourself to protect yourself, I want you to let them. I want you to let them go. Today, I guess the takeaway that I would want, that I would want for you, I want you guys to reflect, declare, and act in that order. When I say reflect, I want you to ask yourself, where in your life do you need to set a boundary right now? What have you been saying yes to out of obligation instead of choice? Again, I want you to reflect, where in your life do you need to set a boundary right now? And what have you been saying yes to out of obligation instead of choice? And once you've reflected, I want you to declare. And when I say declare, I want you to say it out loud. Okay? I live in my truth. My no is sacred. My peace is non-negotiable. And I want you to repeat it. I want you to own that. I want you to live that. Make sure you, again, write it down. Say it out loud. I live in my truth. My no is sacred. My peace is non-negotiable. You declare it from your mouth to God's ears. You keep saying it. You keep repeating it until you own it. Once you own it, you can live it. And so after we've reflected and declared, the last step is to act on it. Stand on it, right? And when I say act on it, it means you start small. Okay? You start small and you say no where it matters. You protect your energy. You remove yourself from situations or people that drain you. And when you do that, I want you to watch how your life begins to align with respect, with clarity, and peace. Now, before we wrap up, I want to just drop a little petty wisdom on y'all, because healing will make you a little bit petty, right? And I do this because I know that there will be some folks that are going to test you, right? It's always going to be somebody who wants to test your healing, y'all. And when that happens, just let them know we not beefing, right? It's no beef. I just saw you clearly. You said what you said. It is what it is. I felt how I felt. We good. I don't wish you any harm. I just can no longer break bread with you. Like, I want you to eat, but I just cannot serve you from this table. And you guys keep that in your back pocket. Every time someone tries to challenge your no, you'll see the clarity. You'll feel the self-love. Because if don't nobody else love me, I love me. If don't nobody else got me, I got me. Right? That's the peace that comes with healing. And I want you guys to remember that, again, your yes doesn't have to be constant. And your no doesn't have to be explained. Your peace doesn't have to be negotiated. You are not anyone's convenience. You are sacred. You are priceless. And you saying no is your birthright. Now, if today's episode hit home, please drop some green hearts in the chat. Remember to go back, share this out with someone who may need to hear this today. I thank each and every one of you for making space to breathe with me today. And I am so proud of you guys for showing up for yourself, right? I want you guys to remember that your no is power. Your peace is your prize, and your life is your own. And as always, before we part ways, let me leave you guys with a little extra love and light. I want you to keep protecting your energy. Keep living unapologetically. And as always, you guys, always, always, always honor yourself. I will always be here to encourage you to keep breathing through the highs, the lows, and every single moment in between. I want you to keep choosing peace, even when it feels just out of reach. And know that here at the Self-Care Club, you will always be seen, always valued, and always supported. So don't be afraid to take up space, to speak your truth, and make a little room for you to breathe. I love each and every one of you to life. And I am praying that your day is not just amazing, but aligned, intentional, and yes, on purpose, filled with purpose. This has been a Room to Breathe podcast, and I cannot wait to connect with you guys again soon. Thank you.